everybody! Today's video is going to be part one of a four-part series talking about instrument families. But wait, what are instrument families? There are four different types of musical instruments. There are the woodwinds, the brass, the percussion, and the strings. Each one has its own way of playing. Sometimes people in the same family look a lot alike. Do you look like your family? The string family has instruments that look a lot like each other. The first family we're going to talk about today is the woodwind family. There are 5 common woodwind instruments. The first of those instruments is the clarinet. The clarinet is the instrument that I play. It's made up of 5 different parts. 1, the bell. 2, the bottom joint. 3, the upper joint. 4, the barrel, and 5, the mouthpiece. The clarinet can be made out of wood or plastic, and it has silver or nickel keys. The reed is just a little piece of wood at the top, but it's so important because if you did not have that little piece of wood, it would sound like this. There's nothing. No sound is coming out. There's no reed. The reed is what vibrates to make the sound. And as we know, no vibration, no sound. So what does the clarinet sound like? The next clip is a video of me playing the piece that I'm working on right now. Let's take a look at these instruments. Can you remember which one the clarinet is? Point to it. Were you pointing at this one? You're right, that's the clarinet. This one over here looks a lot like the clarinet, but it's not. It's the oboe. The oboe and this one, the bassoon, are different from the rest because they don't use a reed. They use something called a double reed. A double reed is like 2 reeds put back to back. Here's what a double reed sounds like all on its own, without any instrument attached. And here is what an oboe sounds like with its double reed on. Do you hear the difference between the oboe and the clarinet? They don't really sound the same, do they? Here's what a bassoon sounds like. Okay, do you remember which one the oboe is? Point to the oboe. Were you pointing at this one? You're right, that's the oboe. Now point to the bassoon. Ah, this one? You are so right. That leaves 2 more instruments. There's this golden one and this silver one. The golden one is called a saxophone. It uses a reed just like a clarinet. Look at the tops of the 2. Do you see how they're very similar? That's because they both use a mouthpiece with a single reed on it. Here's what a saxophone sounds like. The last instrument is the flute. It's the silver one right here. It's different from all of the other instruments because it does not have a reed or a double reed. It does have a lot of keys though. To make the sound on the flute, you blow across this hole right here at the top. Here's what a flute sounds like. So those are all 5 of the most common woodwind instruments. Now comes the fun part. We get to make our own woodwind instrument. For this, you are going to need a straw. It can be any kind of straw, even from your Starbucks drink. You're also going to need a pair of scissors. Step 1, take your straw, put it in between your teeth, bite down, and pull. You want this to be as flat as you can possibly make it. You're going to want it to be flat all the way to about here. When you're done, you want it to look a little bit like this. Next up, you are going to make 2 cuts at the top. You're going to want to start where it's flat and make a triangle at the top. 1 cut, 2 cuts. When you're done, it should look like this and it should sound like this. If you want to get really fancy, you can add another straw to the bottom to make a lower sound. Or you can punch holes in your first straw to make the sound higher. So what we made is actually a double reed. We talked a little bit about reeds earlier. A single reed is just a little piece of wood like this. When you blow on it, it doesn't make any sound. You can't make it vibrate without having it on an instrument. Do you remember the 2 instruments that use a single reed? It's the clarinet and saxophone. My instrument and the gold one. This is acting like a double reed. There's 2 different parts. When you blow on it, they hit each other and they make the sound. Do you remember which 2 instruments use the double reed? It's the oboe and the bassoon. Alright, so you've seen all 5 of these instruments in the woodwind family. Now it's time to see if you've been paying attention. Point to the bassoon. This one. Point to the flute. That's right, the flute is the oddball. Point to the clarinet. Tough choice. It's this one. Point to the saxophone. Very good. And last but not least, point to the oboe. Yay! Alright, that's it for our video today. Everyone will have fun here.